NFL MVP, three-time All-Pro, a 2007 Madden cover boy, and a member of the Seattle Seahawks Ring of Honor. Shaun Alexander, how are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm great. You're smiley. We're ready. Super Bowl 58 is upon us. The Pro Bowl is this weekend, of course. And the timing could not have worked out better. Yesterday, your Seahawks hired Ravens DC Mike Macdonald, the youngster, as their new head coach. They go from one of the oldest, longest tenured coaches in Pete Carroll to this cat. Your thoughts?
I'm excited. I mean, I actually was just on the phone with the front office of the Seahawks today, and they're just like, man, I said, you guys seem so excited like we are. I mean, how do you go from, legendary Mike Holmgren, Pete Carroll, Super Bowl winner, and then now we got Coach Macdonald, and they're like, man, like this is like night and day. But so excited for like the potential in this guy, and it's gonna be awesome.
What are they excited about when you're talking to the front office? Like, what's the scouting report? What do we know?
Like there's something about him that has like this, we gonna get this thing done. And Pete always had it, and now you're seeing it like again. And so there's this excitement that, I think his words was, I want to be here a long time and win a bunch of championships. And that almost sounds like college football or high school football. But when you get it in a pro package, it seems like it's going to be very contagious, very something that can go for a long time, very consistent. So hopefully we see that. I mean, I saw the Ravens defense. Seattle has never been scared to play some great defense. So hopefully we get to do this many years.
Well, speaking of defense, I really thought if I was a betting gal, I would have said Dan Quinn to Seattle. It makes sense. He's got connections there, but I feel like the decision they made yesterday was just a clean slate sort of decision. Let's start something completely different. We're going this way, and it's nothing against Pete. I want to ask you, do you see Pete coaching again in the NFL?
Yeah, that's kind of a weird thought. Like he is definitely the oldest. He still has fire in his belly. I know he was not ready to let it go. I think that he could if somebody needed him, but I don't see teams doing that. I think like it's that football thing, not for long. Even though Pete was in it for a long time, when people decide to shift, it is a brutal, hard thing that everybody will eventually wrestle with. Me playing my last game as a Redskin, Joe Montana being a Kansas City Chief, Emmitt Smith being an Arizona Cardinal, Jerry Rice being a Seattle Seahawk. It just happens, and that's a part of the game. So I think that sometimes the game moves on, and it's hard for coaches or players, and that's just kind of what I think is going to happen.
I know a lot of Niners fans, and they're like, we'll deal with this later, because they're not happy about it, because they're, it's what the amount of respect this young kid, 36 years old, has. It's like, he's got the rest of the NFC West thinking a little bit about, like, oh, this is going to be tough to deal with. Let's get through the Super Bowl. And let's get to the Super Bowl, you and I here. Like, your MVP year, 2005. You made the Super Bowl. In fact, until Christian McCaffrey got in last week, you were the last running back in NFL history to lead the league in rushing and make it to a Super Bowl. How did that take 19 years? Do the top running backs burn out? Like, what happens? Do teams get game plan better in the playoffs and take out top RBs?
I think like there's always has to be a game where the quarterback does something special, because, you can make games one-sided. You can make them, hey, you're going to have to throw the ball to beat us. And if everybody remembers, we played against the Washington at the time Redskins in the playoffs, and I actually got knocked out of the game with a concussion. And Hasselbeck scrambles, runs for a touchdown, throws another one. He carried all the weight that I would have carried. And so Matt gets us to the next round. We get to the NFC Championship. I go back off in the playoff in the NFC Championship, and then we're in the Super Bowl. So it takes a quarterback to go and do something when you have a running team. And here, Christian, then we're down with 17 at halftime. So Brock has to go and do something special for their team to win, and he did.
I mean, if they're down 17 at half against the Chiefs in Vegas, goodbye. I don't know if Brock Purdy can come back from that. He's got to find a way to avoid starting slow. What do you make of Christian McCaffrey? Just as an NFL great, when you look at him and you watch him, I had Luke Kuechly on yesterday talking about how hard he was to tackle. He might have weighed 225, but it felt like 1,000 pounds trying to get your hands on him. What do you make of CMC?
I remember when he was in college at Stanford, I was a senior at Alabama. We had a freshman receiver, Lance Taylor, who is now the head football coach of Western Michigan. He calls me up. He's the running back coach at Stanford and says, man, bro, I got this kid that can shoot, man. And so I turned the game on, I'm on the East Coast, so I'm watching this game super late, Stanford versus somebody. And I said, man, this kid's fast. He's got great balance. I said, who is he? And he said, oh, McCaffrey. I said, did he have a dad that played? He was like, yeah. And so I was able to send messages through Lance back in the day to Christian and just watch him grow and mature as a player. Then he goes to Carolina and watch him continue to get better, just unscared to do the work. And that's what you see. He just wants to master every part of the game and be the best version of himself. And so just so proud of him, watching him from, a 19-year-old college student to watching him now, just dominate the football game like he should, like running backs do,
Yes, they do. And you bring up the word should, and the word should is important here because it has been over 27 long, laboring years since a running back has won the MVP award in the Super Bowl. That was TD back in the day. What is it about, can he do this? Can CMC, I know he's great and you're proud of him and he wants it more than anybody. Is he special enough to get it done?
To win the MVP of the Super Bowl, it's got to fall incredibly right because it's so designed for the quarterback in the final drive to catch it and win the game, so it's hard. He would have to dominate like the first 2 quarters in such a way that no one's ever seen, one of those long Marcus Allen runs, that's happened before where it can happen. And then close out with a running touchdown at the end. And so he's got the talent to do it. The game just has to fall in that kind of way. And, hopefully he'll play well and we'll see. I'm actually going to go to the game. So it's going to be my first Super Bowl I'm actually going to watch and live. And since I played in it, you know what I mean?
Wow,
so
you haven't been to a Super Bowl since the one you played in?
Yeah, I'm always there. I do some of the interviews, do all the meet and greets and all the little pre-parties and after parties. But then I catch the plane and come back. Yeah.
Why are you going to this game?
So my son, Justice, turns 13, February 7th. And, I've always tried to do a really cool 13-year-old birthday thing.
Amazing.
And he said he wanted to go Super Bowl. I said, oh, great. You come do media row. I'll take you to honors. We'll go do all that. And then we'll fly home and we'll do laser tag, Saturday before the game, And he's like, oh, and my wife texted me, I think he wants to go to the game. And I thought, ooh, all right, let's go do it. And, Derek Barnes, linebacker, that's my little cousin. And so I see him have this interception.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I'm like, oh man, this might be a family reunion up here. Like, we had like 100-some people when Seattle played Pittsburgh. We might have been the only Seahawks fans in that stadium, but
Wait, that's amazing.
Yeah, and so we thought it would be that, so that would have been sweet. Even though I was still cheering for Christian, I was also really cheering for Derek.
Obviously.
So it was really sweet, but we're still going to go have a great time with Justice and be a good father-son 13th birthday kind of celebration.
Were you losing your mind when Derek Barnes made the game-winning heroic play? We had him on the next morning. It was like the most insane thing. He's got a new baby. He's got a lot going on.
Yeah, this has been like a great year for him. Marriage, baby, like over the last 15 months. It's been crazy for him. But our little town in Northern Kentucky, like he's got sandwiches named after him now. There's kids being named Derek. He don't even know, and so it's really cool to kind of see like the passing of the torch with our family and seeing him be the one that's like, hey, are you Derek Barnes' cousin? I'm like, I guess I am.
You're like, no, I'm Shaun Alexander, father of 13-year-old Justice, taking him to the Super Bowl. I'm the coolest dad ever is what I am, which is amazing. Honestly, it's true. A lot of former players, legends, nobody goes to the game. The fact that you're going, that is your love. Is it going to sting you a little bit? Like, is it going to bring you back to that game, you think?
It will. It does every year. Like, I wrestle with that. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh.
Still?
Come on, let it go, Shaun. But, you really work your whole life to get there and win the championship. And, so to be there and we had a great game, we had a great game plan, and then we lose. And, people make excuses about what happened in the game. You're like, oh, don't say that, refs, like just let it go. I'd much rather just beat up and people said, yeah, that was all right. But for us to be there and not win, it still hurts, because that's what you want. But you let it go. You see the next generation come through, and you went through them. Russell and Bobby and all them winning it. A little bit less than a decade later was pretty sweet for me. So that's kind of how it goes.
And we'll see who wins it. We sized up the running back on one side and Christian McCaffrey. We cannot forget the other side with Isaiah Pacheco. When you played, you had this grace about you. I think we've got some highlights here. Yeah, baby. It just didn't look like you were running like you were. It was smooth. It was smooth, creamy peanut butter. Okay, but then you'd look up and it was like 150 yards and 3 touchdowns was the stat line. And I feel like it's a little. I mean, do you just love seeing these highlights? I do. And then you were watching Isaiah Pacheco.
Great.
He's so mad when he runs.
Yeah.
And the Niners have, struggled. Or sorry, he's been balling out. How is he going to factor into the outcome?
Man, he runs so hard. He runs like my mentor, Ricky Waters. You know what I mean? Just violently attacking every play. And Ricky was my big brother. He was there my first 2 years in Seattle. And I watched Isaiah. And my boys, they love him. They're like, Pacheco, man, watch him, Dad. Watch him. He's going to get it done. And so it's really funny to see him play because he's talented and he plays. He fits the Kansas City kind of style. You know what I mean? And he's a very good addition for Patrick Mahomes, because Patrick's going to make these wonderful plays. And you got somebody that's just going to punch you in the mouth with the run game. And so, it's pretty fun to watch their offense right now.
I love it. Ricky, former Niner Super Bowl champion.
Yes. He wore the ring in front of me a couple of times.
Is that your pick for this game? Who wins Super Bowl 58?
Oh, man, I'm trying not to make that decision yet because I want to just enjoy the whole time.
I let Howie Long get away with it. I'm not letting you get away with it. So to make a pick, you could change it until the Super Bowl. We don't know the injury reports. We don't know anything. Where does your gut tell you this game's going to go?
It's hard to go against Patrick Mahomes, but I just feel like the Niners are going to do something special. I don't know why. It's just like a feeling, and I love Eric Armstead and Boza. I love those guys on the defense. So I just feel like they're going to do something special, and so I'm leaning right now towards the 49ers.
Okay. They got to figure out how to stop the run against a guy like Isaiah Pacheco, and I think the Lions did very well running all over them with Gibbs. So we'll see what they can do down the stretch here. Now, I do want to talk about you're going to the Super Bowl, you're going to be there, but you're attending the Super Bowl. I know it's fun and Radio Row and all of that, but you are there for the 4th time, I believe, with the Stand Together Foundation and Cafe Momentum. Now, this is incredible. We talked about it as a group yesterday on my show, me and Eric, who produced this interview. It's an award-winning nonprofit restaurant, right? And it provides life-changing support to youth that are exiting the juvenile justice system. Tell me what I need to know about this amazing foundation, your work, the restaurant, and what you're cooking up for Super Bowl.
Man, Cafe Momentum, I've been so proud of them. Been working with them for 4 or 5 years now. And the whole goal was we saw this amazing restaurant, shout out Chad, this great chef, and he decided to leave the business to go and turn his restaurant, all this great food, into a place that would take these kids in the juvenile justice system, who the world's calling throwaways, and give them a chance, remind them that they are something special, that there's a greater identity in what they've been created to be. And these kids are now got the great ecosystem around them. They got social workers, psychologists, job help secure people, education people, and I call them the aunties and uncles. They put the family around them, and now you're seeing these kids just blossom. Little Maya was the one that my wife and I met day 1 4 years ago. Now she works at the hospital, and these kids that have made some really bad decisions that deserved punishment, but not to be thrown away. And now they come in here, they come start working at Cafe Momentum, and they get the right ecosystem around them, and you're seeing these kids succeed. I mean, recidivism means the possibility of going back to prison. Most places around 50%. You get in the Cafe Momentum program, and it's like 11. You're just seeing these kids, like most are they're figuring out who they are and the greatness in them. And our goal, I told Chad, I said, Chad, we could put one in every NFL city. And he was like,
But you're doing it, Sean.
Dallas.
Sean, there's, tell me, because you have Cafe Momentum restaurants. They're open in Dallas. Where else? Atlanta, maybe?
Pittsburgh. Yep, we've got the
Nashville?
beginnings of Miami, Atlanta. Yeah, we've got Nashville, and we're just moving. We've got the grounds doing. I can't wait to put one in Seattle. Can't wait to put one in
Denver
Tampa.
this year, I heard. Is that true? Denver?
Yep, Denver opens up this year. Yeah, so it's just cool because we've got a new way to handle with kids in the juvenile system. Instead of just throwing them into a prison hoping that they learn their lesson, we're like, no, what if we put a family around you and gave you some responsibility with a job and then watch what happens? And we're just seeing great results. And we put one in every city. It's going to change a lot of lives.
That 11%,
it's
Sean,
thousands are.
Yeah, that 11% is staggering. And it's,
Yeah.
it's not, you're doing this and it's goodwill, you're saying that Chad raised his eyebrows, but you're doing it. You're opening up new locations, new restaurants, and new cafe momentums everywhere. It's an incredible mission. Congratulations on all of that. If anybody wants, obviously here's the website. It's cafemomentum.org/Super Bowl, where Shaun Alexander will be. Speaking of Denver, I'm going to keep you, we're going to take a TV break, but we're going to be on YouTube. I got a Denver question for you. We'll be right back on Up